miracle serums. Look, miracle serums.
We keep having all these problems. How we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. All these unsolved issues, I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired of arguing and lying. So goodbye.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is September the 4th, 2024, and today the topic is right place, right time, right thing. Happy Wednesday. It's Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good overall. Highlights from yesterday, NJ did class. We did a little bit of grocery shopping and whatnot. And that's pretty much what my Tuesday looked like in a nutshell. Today is Wednesday, and I have quite a few things to do. I missed my therapy session yesterday because your girl took a nap by the time I got back home. And so that was one thing that I need to do and whatnot. Today, so we need to make up for that today. Tonight we'll be starting the new childcare season, so that's something else. We still got to do NJ's classes. Someone has signed up to be on the GSL talk show, so I got to record that at some point today. So a lot of stuff to do and going on. So let's get into this juice, y'all. Let's get into today's conversation. Right place, right time, right thing. There's a lot of things that I would say inspired today's conversation, but nothing in my mind right now other than to just say, hey, man, at the end of the day, I guess I just was thinking a lot about life, thinking a lot about this journey that I'm on. Those of you all that know, recently I changed my Instagram. So I am now Cultivation Coach Miracle on Instagram and things of that nature. And I just found it very interesting because I was looking into I need to make content, right, and explain to you guys, like, what is the cultivation coach, things of that nature. And so as I was thinking about that, I came across something that I wrote back in 2022. And it's pretty much what I'm embarking on, this whole journey and whatnot. And as much as I've been going back and forth with this business coach and whatnot about niching down, because he's been saying I need to focus on one thing and all this stuff. And I've been like really, really battling that. But I found it very interesting that I found something I wrote again back in 2022 that pretty much was a niched down statement. So I was like, you know what? I got to lean into this because I do see the need, right, for the things that are on my heart and mind and whatnot. And so at some point I really was thinking deeply about being a wife and things of that nature. Now I know that's the title that I now have, and I know that it was something that I was really, really aspiring for and praying for and all those different types of things during my own cultivation period, right, and things of that nature. But there's definitely a need today. I mean, I don't know if the men want to say it or the women want to say it, but I mean, there's definitely a need for some guidance, right, in this conversation about being wives and things of that nature. And so, yeah, there's stuff on the men's side that needs to be said and done too, but there is, I would say, a bit of a gap in this conversation when it comes to women, because again, I'm seeing and hearing a lot of younger women and older women, right, talking about how they want marriage, they want love, they're on all these dating shows, they're popping the balloons, they're doing all these things, right, and at the end of the day, we're not having the conversation we need to be having. I would say the matriarchs and whatnot above me, the elders and whatnot, I mean, I don't know if they're not having the conversation. I don't know if my generation isn't listening. I don't know. But I feel like I'm supposed to do something, right? I'm supposed to be a part of the conversation. And so, I already got my book out there, The Cultivation Period, A Single Christian's Journey. And so y'all know I got a heart for single people. I sell this and I say this all the time. But real soon, I guess. Be on the lookout for more content centered around this and everything like that. But with that being said, after taking that deep dive into this whole idea about being a wife and what does that mean and all of that different type of stuff, because I thought maybe God wanted me to talk about that today. But at some point, I kind of laid down that idea and was thinking about some other things, and ultimately, again, this conversation or this title or whatnot came into my heart and mind about, again, right time, right place, right thing. I mean, it's important for us to be doing all three of those things in order to really truly, I guess, be in alignment with the Lord and things of that nature. And so that's what today's conversation is about. That's where the inspiration came from. So let's get into it, y'all. Right place, right time, right thing. So I mean, I guess the main thing to get into is verses, and I was pretty much inspired by the first verse that I felt led to write down is good old Esther. All right, Esther 4:14. It says, "For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this." Um, I know a lot of times when we think about Esther, this is what we think about, this wise statement from her uncle or cousin Mordecai, right? I mean, it's interesting because I think NJ is in there watching VeggieTales right now, and it's the Esther one. So everything is in alignment with this conversation. Um, and yeah, who knows, right? It seems like, right, she was strategically placed to be able to allow God's plan to go forth. And even though, quote unquote, God was not mentioned in the entire book of Esther, I know that's something that people have pointed out in the past, you can see his hand working all the situations. So Mordecai, I guess, is showing her and now us in this day and time that, again, God's plan, his will is going to prevail with or without you. Now you can be part of it, right? You obviously, Esther played a major role, right, in the salvation of the Jews at that particular time, right? But as her uncle, whichever one it was, let her know that, hey, if you decide to be quiet and if you decide not to, help or whatever the case may be, or do something right now, then at the end of the day, salvation is going to come one way or another for us. But you and your father's line is going to perish. And I guess I'm here to warn you today, whoever you are listening to the sound of my voice, that this could be a message for you, friend. I know that might be tough. Pope, we might not want to hear that or receive that, or you might think I'm just out here talking. I don't know, who you are listening to the sound of my voice today. All I'm going to say is this is what I felt led to talk about today. And again, if you're listening to it, I feel like God sent you here to listen, because I mean, look, out of all the things you could be seeing and listening, you seeing and listening to me. So I mean, listen, I hope you're encouraged and inspired to know that you are that important to the plan of God. But at the same time, too, understand that God's will and way and plan is going to succeed, again, with or without you. I can't help but think about, what got me to be here today, and yes, I think about, my father's conception. I think about my conception. I think I told you guys about those things multiple times, just in case it's your first time or something like that. Long story short, without getting too deep into personal testimonies, I just say, again, my father was conceived in a way where my grandmother and who I know to be my grandfather were on a quote unquote break or separated or whatever was going on at that particular time. And my grandmother conceived my father with another gentleman, X, Y, and Z. Now, I carry the Sims name, X, Y, and Z, and I'm appreciative of everything that comes with that and those benefits and whatnot, because the Sims family has been, a blessing to me and everything like that. However, I know the truth, right? I know what the truth is and everything of that nature. And then when I think about my own conception, right? The fact that my father passed just a few months before I was born. And my mother was only married to him for maybe like a year or two, if that much, and I can't remember how long they dated, but, for my mom to end up in a single mother, situation and whatnot, when she was pregnant and all these things. I mean, in these days and times, we know what women in those positions do. People are fighting for laws right now so they can be able to abort and do everything else and get rid of the responsibility of being a wife and mother and all this different type of stuff. And so, I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful to be here today. I'm grateful to be here talking, knowing that both of those situations could have ended up, terribly, you know what I mean? I guess terribly for me, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that both of those matriarchs before me, decided to go forth, right, and live their purpose and carry their seeds and things of that nature. And my father was able to live and marry my mother, and here I am today, and there my son is, and things like that. And the line is going on and on. Why am I sharing all that again? I guess again, right place, right time, right thing, right? Now again, and God can work it out. Now, you know what I mean? He can have, he got grace and mercy for us. So again, was it the right thing for my, grandparents to be separated? Was it the right thing for things to have happened the way it did? Probably not. But guess what? Some great things came from it. I believe that my father, every time I hear about him, people speaking highly. Now I know that's one of those things that happen when you pass away. People always speak highly of the dead, for the most part, unless you did something completely evil. But I mean, still, you know what I mean? Like I'm assuming based on what I've heard and my mom's, testimony and things of that nature, that he was a great, good man. And, I believe that, I'm doing my part right for the kingdom and whatnot today. And I pray, I already see things in my son and whatnot. And, we're going to see what the Lord do. But, so all things work together for the good. I say that to say, like, God knows you, right? He knows, like, the time it's going to take for you to get to the place where you need to be. He knows whether or not you're going to get into accordance with him and his will or not. He has grace and mercy for you, right? And so I'm not sitting here trying to rush your process, right? Because I get it. It took me a while for my process too, right, to get where I am today. So I'm not sitting here trying to rush nobody, but at the same time, I am trying to, I guess, show some urgency here and let you guys know how important you being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing can be. And if we think back on Esther, right, she ended up being in the right place at the right time, and then she did the right thing as well. But let's say she didn't, right? Again, Mordecai already told her what that was going to look like. You and your family bloodline X, Y, and Z is going to perish, but the Jews going to be all right regardless of whatever you do. And that's how we got to look at this thing. At the end of the day, God's plan is what's going to prevail. Matter of fact, as I was writing down the verses, that really, really was standing out to me, this idea of understanding that God's plan is what is going to happen, and everything like that. And I kept trying to look for a particular verse, and I don't know if I found it, but the one that stood out to me to at least go ahead and write down was Proverbs 19:21. And it says, many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. At the end of the day, again, if we go back to Mordecai and Esther, you know what I'm saying? The purpose was to save the Jews. Now, whether she was going to do her part or not, hey, it was up to her. She had the free will, right? But again, the Jews was going to be saved regardless, right? I guess same for us today, right? What does that look like in your life? Hey, I don't know. Lord knows I've tried my best to, like, encourage and inspire other people. I wrote my book, all these different things. Again, played a part, I guess, in my own journey, in my own life. A lot of this I could have kept to myself. I don't have to be recording this right now. You know what I'm saying? I could just be with my son right now, or he could probably even be in the school and I could be doing who knows what. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, again, I feel like everything has led me to be in this place, to be doing exactly what I'm doing. And it's such a beautiful thing to walk in your purpose, y'all. Like, at the end of the day, again, I mean, I'm not trying to brag on myself by any means. I'm trying to let y'all know how much peace I have now that I have aligned myself with the Lord. That's all I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, I remember those days where I was like, what am I doing? I'm going for this goal. I'm going for that goal. I'm not feeling fulfilled. Matter of fact, even just last night, I saw someone posting about, how I can't remember the exact words. I don't like to misquote. I like to say exactly what people said. But I didn't know I was going to talk about this morning. But she was saying something along the lines of how she was feeling like something was missing and something like that along those lines. And my thing is, I remember those days. You know what I'm saying? I felt the exact same thing. I felt like something's missing, something's not right. And I kept trying to figure out what is it. Okay, well, I never did get the love part of things. I finally got a career going. I'm living on my own. I'm thinking all of these things. I'm like, but I never did get the love thing figured out. So then I started to really seek the Lord about that, and that's what one of those things that ultimately got me to where I am today as I humbled myself to the Lord, got it according with his will and way, laid down my own ideas of what I thought my life is supposed to be, what I thought my job was going to be, all these different things, laid that stuff down to God and said, hey, Lord, okay, what is it that you want me to do? And once I started to do that, that's what got me here today, feeling content, just getting up in the morning, sharing the Bible, sharing my Bible study is one of the most, the most fulfilling things I've done in my life, to get up here and do the juice every day. You know what I'm saying? Having the conversation that I have on the GSL talk show, nothing is like it. It's amazing. Every time I talk to somebody, it seems like whatever they talking about is fitting exactly what I'm going through. And then whenever it comes out, because a lot of times I'm pre-recording, so whenever it comes out, I know it's going to hit home with whoever it resonates with at that time. Let's not get me started about working at the church. It feels like I'm divinely placed there. It's such a blessing. I know it's part-time, and I was just telling y'all yesterday, I'm completely fine with being part-time. You know what I mean? And all these different type of things. Being able to teach my son to be his learning coach, like what a blessing. You know what I'm saying? And that's why even when I was thinking about this whole being a wife thing and stuff like that, I know that people have a lot to say, right? They talk about the patriarchy, they talk about all this stuff. And and then obviously what it says about being a biblical wife is on a whole nother level, and things of that nature. And it can be very intimidating, right? To think about being a Proverbs 31 woman and all these different type of things. And what does that look like? What does that mean in these days and times? But at the end of the day, again, all I'm just sitting here trying to say is that let us get into alignment with the Lord, because at the end of the day, it's what his will is what's going to happen. Now, again, you can do your own thing and keep trying to go your own way, right? And I mean, he tells you what that's going to lead to. He says the wages of sin is death, and everything like that. We might not want to receive that. We might not believe that. You got the free will. He gave it to you. So do what you will with it. But again, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you got this far in the conversation, then again, I hope you're encouraged and inspired to, again, align yourself with the Lord and get that peace. Because that's another thing, too. As I was reflecting on this and looking a little bit into the conversation about being a wife and stuff like that, on one hand, I ain't gonna lie, man, there's a few things that I'm like, okay, so does this mean I have to do X, Y, and Z? Or what does this mean? X, Y, and Z. But as I find myself, okay, I'm more so at home than anywhere, right? Outside of the church, right? So I'm usually at the church or I'm at home. You know what I'm saying? Being able to work with my son and do the class. Now, don't get me wrong. Now he's 5 years old. He's a little boy. He be trying it every now and then. Okay, But at the same time, it's such a blessing. Like the other beautiful things, like I get to hear him singing worship songs. I get to, see him get his work and ask really cool and informative questions, and and just things that I wouldn't be able to see if he was in school, and those things are fulfilling to me. Like they make me smile, they bring me so much joy. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if I was in any other scenario, or if I was in here trying to be, the breadwinner, or the wear the pants in the household, or whatever people say and do, what I'm saying? If I was trying to do that and be that type of wife, or whatever case may be, it wouldn't be doing nothing but causing me grief and oh, I don't have time with my son, or oh, all the things that you see and hear everywhere. I mean, I don't have to tell y'all what that look like. That y'all probably living it today. Okay. So all I'm saying is, why don't we get into alignment and do the things that God has created us to do? Right? There's nothing wrong with being a wife, right? There's nothing wrong with being a husband, letting the man lead in the X, Y, and Z. There's nothing wrong with the roles, if you want to say. Now, I mean, you got to work that out, what that looks like between individuals, and stuff like that. Because I mean, everybody's situation isn't going to be exactly the same, But I mean, I'm totally fine with, again, letting my husband do what he do. I do what I do, and we come together and do things together. Like, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let me give you guys another verse. Psalm 37 and 23. It says, The steps of a man are established by the Lord, and he delights in his way. So we got to be a delighting in the Lord's way at the end of the day. Like that's what's going to be established. Okay. Again, I mean, right place, right time, right thing. Like be at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And you can't go wrong, man. And I guess that's the juice. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Matthew 4:4. It says, "But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye bye. And there you look, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. As are encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much for listening, watching, subscribing, and sharing all those wonderful things. Yeah, man. Like I said, we got a busy day. I know I need to go ahead and go. So, um, I want to give a shout out to Elizabeth though, man. She's taken over with posting things and whatnot. Like I don't have to make my covers anymore. So all of that is a blessing, man. So anybody that supports in any aspect, thank you to those that support us monthly and things like that. It's not for me, you know what I'm saying? The International Dream Team is staying on board. Like even the other day when we had our meeting, she was expressing, how much she appreciated everything. And so, at the end of the day, God is doing his thing, man. And I'm greatly appreciative. Like I said, I'm getting ready to embark on this journey of becoming, cultivation coach miracle. I guess I've been that, but it's just putting it out there in a more professional way. So, yeah, be on the lookout for more content, and things of that nature. And yeah, man, I'm greatly appreciative of every aspect of everything. And, hey, I hope it encourages you and inspires you, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I look forward to talking to you as well. Bye.